So today for reading, we're going to read and listen to two passages. One is on two kinds of whales. The other passage is whales take a trip. We're going to listen to the stories, both stories, and we're going to be comparing and contrasting. Comparing means that what do they have that are the same in both stories, and contrasting means what are different in both of the stories, okay? So we're going to listen to the first story, Two Kinds of Whales.
Two kinds of whales. A whale is a huge sea animal. Different kinds of whales live in our oceans. Whales have blowholes on their heads. Some have one blowhole and some have two. A whale lifts its head up from the water to breathe through its blowhole. The killer whale has one blowhole. It has sharp teeth. It uses its teeth to hunt for seals. It is as big as one school bus. The blue whale has two blowholes. It doesn't have teeth, but it eats a lot of krill. Krill are very small and look like shrimp. The blue whale is the biggest whale. In fact, it is the largest animal in the world. It is as big as 3 school buses.
Okay, so that was our first passage. Now we're going to listen to Whales Take a Trip.
Whales take a trip. Humpback whales live in Earth's oceans. Each fall, these whales take a trip. They leave the area where ocean water is cold. They swim to warm ocean water. Why? The mother whales want to have their babies. They want to have their babies in warm water. When they are born, the babies will already know how to swim. They will drink their mother's milk and grow. Then the mothers and babies will swim back to the cold water.
Okay, so we just listened to the second passage. Now we're going to fill in our Venn diagram. This is our Venn diagram. So it's two circles. On this side is one of the passages, and on this side is another passage. And then in the middle, it's what they have the same. So on the line, I'm just gonna write number 1. Okay, so passage number 1. And here, passage number 2. Okay, so in both stories, what did they have the same? What was the topic? Okay, you're going to write a word here. What do they have? What will we just read about in the first passage and our second passage? Okay, so if we want to go back, so here's my first passage. Oh, sorry. This is my first passage. So I can look at the pictures. Okay, and this is my first story. What do they have that are the same? Okay, you're going to write it in the middle. Now on this side, you're going to tell me only things that are mentioned in the first story that are not mentioned in the second story. So I can start you off. So I'm going to go back. Here's my first story. So one thing that is not mentioned in the second passage. So this talked about blowholes a lot. Okay, so the whales, how whales have one blowhole, others have 2 blowholes. So that wasn't mentioned in the second passage. So I can write blowholes. That's one thing that was different. I want you to come up with 2 more things that are different from passage number 1. For passage number 2, what is different? What did they mostly talk about? What's the main idea? Oops, so what's the main idea of the second passage? Sorry, make whales take a trip. So in this passage, it was talking about how they move locations from cold water to warm water. So I'm going to write that, okay? So the movement, so they're changing from cold water, they're moving from cold water to warm water. That wasn't mentioned in the first passage. I want you to write 2 more facts that comes from only the second passage.